Before we get started with today's video, I have an announcement to make. After years of telling other people's stories, I finally released one of my own. My novel Eternal Reign is available now in both ebook and paperback format for those of you who are like me and prefer to collect physical media. You can grab a copy right now on Amazon through the link in the description of this video. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. When Mustadio and Ramza get to Galgit, it's pretty clear that something is wrong. There are no members of the Bark Company anywhere, but it doesn't look like there's been a fight, which it would have been if the Cardinal soldiers had shown up like they were supposed to. Mustadio decides to look around for his father and tells Ramza where to meet up with him a little bit later. It takes a while, but Mustadio finally shows up, but he doesn't show up to the meeting spot alone. Rudvik and some of his men captured him and brought him and his father there to force him to tell them where the stone is. Since he doesn't really have a choice now, he tells them and Ramza gets it and hands it over. Now that he has the stone and he's pretty confident that Ramza and Mustadio are about to die, Rudvik lets slip that he was after the stone for Cardinal Draclaw before he leaves. After taking down his men and saving Mustadio's father, the mechanic reveals that the stone he gave to Rudvik was a fake, one that he made just in case he had to turn it over, and he still has the real one in his pocket. That's great for him, but since the Cardinal wasn't exactly being honest with them, Ramza is positive that Agrius and Ovelia are not safe with him. If he's hunting for the Zodiac Stones, him and the church may very well be trying to use the stones in the Legend of the Zodiac Braves to make the church into the new ruling body of Ivalice, since the Lion War has made everything unstable, which means that Ovelia would be in just as much danger in the hands of the church as she would be if Galtana or Larg got her. Since they helped him out, Mustadio agrees to help Ramza save Ovelia and Agrius, but he's pretty sure they won't be able to take the same route back to Lionel Castle that they did before, since the Cardinal's men will likely be watching for Ramza, so they hop on a ship so they can try and sneak around the back of the castle. That turns out to be a good idea, because none of the Lionel soldiers are in the trade city that they passed through, but Delilah just so happens to be there, and he warns Ramza that worrying about the princess and holy stones might not be all that good for his health. Things are about to get very dangerous, and the Lion War is the least important part of it. He knows a lot more than he's telling Ramza, obviously, but he leaves without telling him anything of substance. While Ramza is making his way back to Lionel Castle, Rudvik and Gaffgarion have both made it to see the Cardinal. He's planning on handing the princess over to Dicedark since he had already agreed to do just that, once he's let Gaffgarion use her as bait to lead both Ramza and Mustadio into a trap so Gaffgarion can kill them and take the stone. He heads off to set up the trap, but as for Rudvik, since he got tricked into turning over a fake stone, the Cardinal kills him. While racing back to the castle, Ramza runs right into Agrius, who's being chased by some knights from Lionel Castle. She had escaped after she heard that the Cardinal was working with Prince Larg, but the princess got captured again, and they're taking her to the Golgorand execution site at that very moment. So Agrius and Ramza finish off her attackers and rush over to the site to stop the princess from getting beheaded. Turns out the princess was never taken to the site at all, and this was the trap that Gaffgarion had set up for Ramza. It doesn't work, and instead of dying, Gaffgarion runs away again, so Ramza heads back to Lionel Castle. It turns out that Delilah was working with the Cardinal, which is something Ovelia finds out when he's the one who brings her food to her prison. But she still doesn't know what him and his group want with her since they aren't taking her to Larg at all. Whatever they're planning, she'll have to go along with it if she doesn't want to die. Delilah was actually going to explain part of the plan to her, but the Cardinal and one of the church's high-ranking knights named Vormov comes in and reveals that Ovelia isn't actually the original princess at all. The real princess died a long time ago, and some politicians who hadn't liked the original royals killed a few princes in a way that looked like natural causes, then had Ovelia get adopted as the new princess since they didn't think the king was healthy enough to have another son, something that they turned out to be very wrong about. Granted, not everyone is sure that Ornas is actually the old king's biological son. Larg may have pulled some strings to make the king think he'd had a baby with Larg's sister just so he could be in a position to take power. Ovelia doesn't believe him, but whether she was the real princess or not is irrelevant when it comes to the Cardinal and Vormov's plan. People think she's a legitimate heir to the throne, and they want to put her there under the control of the church, making them the new rulers of Ivalice instead of either Larg or Galtana. When Ramza and Agrius make it to the castle, Gaffgarion attacks them again, and this time Ramza finally kills the man. With him out of the way, they head inside to face the Cardinal. The princess has already been sent to Zeltenia, and the Cardinal has no intention of letting Ramza go after her while he holds the Holy Stone, because he knows what they can really do, and he proves it by transforming himself into a Lucavi. Letting the demon use his body doesn't give it access to its full power, so Ramza and his group are able to kill the thing and add another Holy Stone to their collection. Over at Zeltenia, since the latter was the one who saved Ovelia from Larg, he gets to meet with Galtana and his most important allies. Delilah claims to be one of Baron Grimm's Black Sheep Knights, but the Baron died a month ago in a battle that wiped out his entire Black Sheep squad. Delilah is obviously lying, but since none of Gotana's allies knew every member of the squad, they don't have any way to confirm Delilah's identity, and since he did bring the princess, they assume he's telling the truth. Delilah also brought a prisoner from the group who had kidnapped the princess for Larg. The plan was to frame Gotana for the kidnapping to keep him from taking over Lasalia, and they set the plan up with one of Gotana's top men who wanted to join Larg. After making Delilah promise to not let him get executed, the prisoner snitches on one of the men in that very room, and since treason is punishable by death, Delilah cuts the man down. After what he's seen, Delilah thinks Gotana should take his Nantan Knights to Lasalia right away before they blame him for what happened, which would turn more people against him. And instead of playing things slowly, they need to get rid of Oranos and the Queen and put Ovelia on the throne right away. Gotana takes his advice and heads to Lasalia with his army. They lock the Queen away in Bethla Garrison and pronounce Ovelia the new ruler of Ivalice. However, Larg claims that Oranos is the rightful heir and crowns him king, but since he's so young, Larg acts as the true leader until Oranos is old enough to do the job himself. So acting on Oranos' behalf, Larg sends the Hokutan to Bethla Garrison to rescue the Queen, and Gotana sends a large contingent of Nantan Knights to keep them out, which is where the Lion War officially begins. This concludes Chapter 2 of Final Fantasy Tactics. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, comment, share it, and subscribe. Grab a copy of my novel on your way out, and I'll see you all next time.